Good morning, champions. Look, something in your life has to shift. Are you ready for it? Because today we are talking about making your move. And what is a move? When we move, we go in a specified direction or we change our position. It's March and it's time to get moving for sure. March is our action month. In the Tony world, we like to say, make your move. And Tony has us conditioned, if you will, that when he says make your move, we strike a pose. And everybody has a different move that fits for them. Maybe you're Wonder Woman, maybe you're Superman. I like my victory pose, arms up in the air. But whatever it is, when Tony says make your move, make your move. It's kind of like that song where you strike a pose and then it plays through and you strike another pose. Yeah, it's a power step in the direction you want to take. In reality, it's taking action, or it's simply saying it's your turn to play. Now, let me catch my video up here so that people in the community will know that we're live. And if you're here, go ahead and say hello in the group. I want to hear from you. I want to know you're here and watching. Not giving up. I'm going to figure out the technology, you guys. I'm going to be able to see your comments. Okay. I see Gina is watching, and I see Kyra. Thank you so much for being here. It is March, and every time we are in a new month, I like to evaluate what are we going to cover this month. And March is actually a continuation of February's F of finance, but we're going to dig in a little bit deeper because finance is not just about money, right? We're going to explore the discipline of finance and the organizational aspect of finances, because we all know it plays a big part in it, right? This is actually the bigger part of this is this year, I'm rewriting the script in 2026. And I'm taking everybody on this journey as we decide, how do we want to write the story of our life? It's not just a rewrite, it is a redo, a start over, a complete reset, right? Because we don't want to just make a few tweaks. We want to get to the next level. And if you were with me all last month with the manifestation, that was so much fun. But we're in March now and we're making our move. So we're taking the information from the beginning of this year and we are pushing ourselves to get the best outcomes possible. I'm excited. I hope you're excited as well. So what we're going to do is cover 3 weeks of a program that is, like I said, it's going to be called Make Your Move, but that's actually there's a piece inside of that. When you go to Tony Robbins events, one of the things Tony will say at every event, pretty much witness to it, is that the most important thing is state, story, and strategy. Whenever you have anything going on, we need to address the state, we need to address the story, we need to address the strategy. And so we're going to pick apart in these 3 weeks. Guess what? We're going to cover state today. And we're going to talk about my favorite tool of all, which is the mood meter. And I think it was just maybe 4 months ago, right before the end of the year, we did the shades of purple. And we talked about the mood meter and creating our own mood meter. I love AI so much, you guys, because you can just say to it, I want you to do this. And so I took the mood meter that was supplied at Life Mastery in Tony's world. And I said, make words that are more specific to my life and then attach them to the colors of purple, like make an array of colors for me. And it was so much fun. And now I can like look at a certain level and see a color of purple and like reach for that mood. And maybe you don't know what a mood meter is, so let's talk about it. Basically, what we did is we took our moods and we put them on a scale. So like there's the 0 level where you're just kind of like, eh. And then what's one step up from that? And name it and claim it. What's the next step up for you? So on and so on. And he had 15 levels up and 15 levels down. And that's why I used AI, because I was like, I want it to be my language. And since I've cloned my AI, it knows me, it understands my brain and my inner workings. I just went ahead and told it, make me my mood meter. And so it did. And then what you want to do is whenever you're doing anything, think, what mood am I in right now? What emotion am I feeling? And so then you look on the chart and you're like, how can I go higher? Because there's always another level. Even when you get to 15, you're going to come up with new areas and new ways that you want to live your life. But what you want to do is say, okay, let's say you're a 5 on the 15 scale. And that's a good mood, but is that where you want to stay, or do you want to push yourself? And then once you recognize it, how do you do that? How do you push yourself to that new level? Because you can hear the news, especially today, and that mood goes down. You can hear or look at your bank account and the mood goes down. But then maybe you get a call from a loved one and the mood goes up, right? Maybe you start to think about what you're grateful for and the memories that you have in your life. You do something that really is amazing. Memories go, or that brings that mood up, right? Honestly, anytime you can focus on the compelling future, you're going to see a skyrocket of emotion. And we can do that in the snap of a finger. And that's that state that we're trying to get into to shift us whenever we want to. So when you make your move, when you make that power stance, you're reminding yourself, my state is important. And I want to be in the best state possible. So what is a move you could make that would help you to get in that best state? Because before you clean up your finances, before you organize and get your schedule all taken care of, before you even make a bold move in the direction you want to go in, right? You first have to calm that inner chaos, that stuff going on inside of you that is taking a while to work its way out. We need to fix that. We need to work on that. And so if you are scatterbrained, I have to say I get like that. The reality is everything feels harder. You can't make decisions. You suck at discipline. And in general, it's just things don't work out well. You can't follow through. And so the next step, I'm sure you're wondering, what do I do when that's true, when that's the case? Well, we do what we're talking about today, which is to do sort of a spring cleaning for our mind, for our habits, and ultimately for our life. Okay. So, state. State is how you show up. And it's the first part of the spring cleaning that we're going to do because we have to unclutter the mind. The mind, 80% of everything we do is our psychology. Okay. The stuff that happens between your ears. And it isn't always good stuff. That's why we focus a lot on how can we get you into your heart? Because when you're in your heart, you're smart and you're going to make good decisions. You're going to do good things. When you're in your head, you are dead and all you think about is dread and it just doesn't work out right, right? So how you show up, that energy level that gets displayed to other people, that is key. And what you want to do is you want to be all in versus holding back, versus reacting to fear. I mean, we all know a fear point in our life, right? You've had something happen recently that you were afraid of. What was your initial response? What did you do right away when you felt that fear? Did you push through it or did you shrink? Did you back up? Did you decide it wasn't for you? That's what we tend to do when we're stressed out. And so, what about if you had a moment of fear and instead you took a bold action? You stepped in front of the bullet, right? And maybe reached out and grabbed it and pushed it out of the way and said, that's not going to affect me. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be a true power pose. But what I want to do is I want to us to you different ways that we can really um, help ourselves here. So grab a pen. This is hitting you in a good spot. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat for me and let me know, especially if you're watching this on the replay later. Um, Still be involved, be paying attention, because this is so important that we get our mind uncluttered, okay? Because an uncluttered state, even a state of mind, it creates things like delayed decisions. I don't know about you, but there are times when I am just not able to process. It's this overwhelming feeling that comes over sometimes when there's just too many things. And the common answer to that is avoidance. So we just don't want to see it. We don't want to agree with it. That can't really be happening, right? And then because we're avoiding it, things start to pile up. Now, has this happened to you before? Have you ever let something pile up? Do you visually see pile up in your life? Because that's a common thing. When you start to see it, then you know that it's also being portrayed in the inner sides of you, right? So when things pile up, what happens? We start to feel shame. We don't want it to be that way. We see the results of avoiding. Then what happens when we feel the shame? We start to avoid even more, which causes things to pile up, which causes more shame, which causes more avoidance. Wow, right? That's a vicious cycle that you do not want to get caught up in. But if we can be clear, wow, everything starts to change. This is truly like a peace versus panic concept. Okay. You get so much more done from a calm state than you do from a frenetic, gotta go state, right? Think about, where do your best ideas come in? Is it when you're on a vacation, or when you're trying to get the kids ready for school? And maybe your kids are older now and you're not experiencing that, but I still remember the stress of those days. Getting 3 kids in the car, did everybody have their backpacks, their lunch, their music instruments, their sports equipment, things for after school? Did I have my things? Oh my gosh, talk about stress, right? I was not having major ideas at that moment. I was surviving, not thriving by any means. But then think about that vacation, you're slow rolling, you have your cup of coffee, totally different feeling, totally different outcomes. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So, and then we don't want to ignore our body. Believe it or not, our body is a part of our life. Like, even though we're all up here in our head, we float around, we think about things, the body is so important, and taking care of it is equally important, right? If you don't have your health, your body working, you don't really have much of a life. In fact, that's the people that don't have health, they have one focus, and that is to get better, to get healthier. They don't tend to be thinking about the hundreds of things. So you can keep your body in a good place. Then you can focus on other things. But taking care of yourself, major importance. And what happens is we take care of other things. We take care of, like, now it's all the buzz, right? Everybody's taking care of their parents. Of course, we take care of our kids, our spouse, the people that we work with, our neighbors, our church. But do we take care of ourselves? Hi, Michelle. Happy to have you here. Yeah, a stressed out body feels completely unsafe. It feels tired, and it feels overloaded. And that's not the state that allows you to take consistent action in your life. Yeah, not going to work, right? So, something I want you to be thinking about as you work to make your move, and that is, what are you avoiding? What are you putting off? Because there's clues in that, right? Like, just thinking about it, what drains you? What makes you feel like, ugh, I just can't do that anymore? or I don't want to. And you don't want to so much that it affects everything else. Or what about clutter? Where are you seeing evidence of clutter in your life? And what kind of clues is that providing for you? Because when we really look around, when we open our eyes and take a look at what the life we've created, especially if it doesn't pattern up with the desires of our heart, right? And we wish it was something different. We really have to remind ourselves that we're the ones required to take the action to shift our life. No one's going to magically come and put their hand on your head and say, oh, your life is exactly what you want it to be. No, that's our responsibility. And I want you to have the best outcome possible for the life that you have. So, what are we going to do about it in our little world, in our community, in our neck of the woods, if you will? Well, we are going to use the tool that I have been talking about all year so far, and that is breathwork. I have found this to be the most calming, most centering, most grounding practice I have ever done. I honestly can say it's changed my life. I never felt, I've done a lot of things. I certified in a lot of modalities. I'm pretty much explore all the new things I hear about. This was just kind of a fluke. It fell into my hands from Life Mastery in 2025. And I instantly felt I felt more self-love than I ever have in my entire life. But I also saw visions for my future and things that I was supposed to do. And years, our mentor, the person who taught me, likes to say that a breathwork session is like 20 years of therapy in an hour, right? Like it just allows you to let that stuff off. And you don't even have to tell anybody what you're going through. You're just letting that nervous system release all of the things that no longer serve you so that you can be in a place where your state can be at the level you want it to be at. Not because you're thinking of 1,000 things and they're pulling you down and making your life heavy and just full on distracted. No, so that you can center on, how do I live the life of my dreams? What's the pattern that I want to have instead? So this is all stuff I covered in the masterclass that we just finished last week. It's still in the replay mode. If you would like access to the manifesting replays, put manifesting into the comments. Would love to get you a copy. There's actually a page that you can go to with the links. In fact, in the comments, we will post the link where you can RSVP for the next breathwork group training that I'm going to be doing. And that's going to be on Tuesday. So yes, you're hearing that correctly. That is tomorrow, the 10th of March. It will be at noon Central. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern. If you can make it, would love to have you. Now, it is kind of in that lunchy time frame. So I want to point out that if you come, it's best for you not to have eaten for 1 to 2 hours before the session. So if you can hold off and have your lunch afterwards, you will feel much better. You also cannot do this when you're like operating a car, duh. And you need to not be near water because it can make you dizzy. And I wouldn't want you to faint and fall off a air mattress or something into the water and lose you and only have the internet to send out help, help into the ethers. No, this is going to be a live Zoom and your screen will be on and I'll get to watch you and coach you through the steps. And it's a beautiful process and something I want everyone in my community to know about, to experience, to give it a shot, because it's something that if you do it, you'll know if it's for you. And if you don't, you might always wonder if there was a tool, if there was a way that you could have something that you haven't seen yet in your life. Because that's how it felt for me. I was so surprised at how helpful it was for me. It was really incredible. So I want that for you. And the way that you'll get it is to put, you can put breath into the comments and we'll send you the information, or you can go to my website, which we'll put the link into the comments. But what it is masterclass, because that's where it originated from, .Coach Tina, because that's who I am. If you don't know me, I am the founder of the Empowering Champions community. Started this group about 5 years ago for women with desires in their hearts that weren't seeing the kind of action or traction, or getting the kind of traction or momentum that they wanted. And yet they know that they're meant to live the life of their dreams and to accomplish a lot. And so I want to empower you to be the champion that you are in your life for yourselves and for those around you, those that you impact and influence. And so, masterclass.coachtina.live/manifesting, and that will get you to the RSVP page. All right. I hope you guys have the best March ever. Starting with this week, have the best start to the week, have the best progress towards the outcomes that you are creating for your life. And it's not just about writing things down on a piece of paper, right? Remember, it's the actions that you take behind them. So know your outcome and then figure out why it's important to you, and then do the steps that are going to get you to the next level. And I can honestly say breath work might be one of those steps you need to consider. All right. I hope you have a truly blessed week, and I will see you very soon